What's up, everybody? It's me, DisBearity here, and I'm here today with you guys to decipher or to see on what kind of changes are happening to Total Warhammer 3, specifically with the Lizardmen, the Vampire Counts, the Dark Elves, and Norsca. So this is a race update for these guys here, and we're gonna check this out. So let's see. It says they're coming back in. Modern Empire's beta arrives. Before we explore the juice details, it's important to recognize that the importing races from Total Warhammer 1 and 2 and Modern Empire is no simple task. So what they mean by this is, I was actually explaining this to a buddy of mine, is that they just can't literally copy and paste into Warhammer 3. It's literally a lot of complex things. They have to rebuild models. They probably have to change a bit of code, about a coding here and there. I don't know, something of the sorts. And I was explaining that to a friend of mine. He was like, "Nah, it's easy copy and paste." So no, it's not that simple, my dude. So it's a lot of things that they got to work on, and people got to understand. Like, CA is really trying out here to express to people that y'all really need to understand that it's not a simple copy paste job. That's why this Immortal Empire's task is so large and so huge. It's going to take time. So, like, even though the beta comes out in August, you're not going to see Immortal Empires be finished till at least maybe at the end of 2023, or shoot, maybe 2024 for all we know, until we get the complete, I'm talking about complete full map. And so they're working on DLC and the map at the same time, so keep that in mind. So that's what they were basically explaining here, because they had overhauled game systems, they had updates to new mechanics, stuff like that. So it's a lot of changes there. So with the Vampire Counts that you guys see here, everyone's favorite bloodsuckers, they're in a difficult spot coming out Warhammer 2, mainly relying on devastating two-punch combo of free skeleton armies and excavation of their enemy and the winds of death. I could say the same thing with the Tomb Kings as well. It feels like Tomb Kings, I mean, early game you really depended on your skeleton based units, but later on, at least they get like a bit of contracts to help them out. And so what they're doing here is that they're changing it, because on top of that, they changed the systems on how Winds of Magic works in Warhammer 3 and it's a heavy impact on the race. And so they spent, the team spent time enhancing them in ways that will help them stay fresh as a exhumed corpse can be. So the headline is free skeletons are gone. They're getting rid of that kind of player thing there, that gameplay there. It distorted the gameplay of Vampire Counts too much, but made of the roster obsolete, particularly in conjunction with the reduced supply line penalties in Warhammer 3. So let's see, across the board balance changes to the roster, leadership increases to most units, adjustments to ethereal units, the ability to recruit more goals in a campaign if you own the Vampire Count DLC, of course. Improvements to raise dead pools, which now offer better units by default, and scale up with vampire corruption, making them less reliant on battle sites. So what that means is that, I guess, the more high vampire corruption, you'll get the chance to recruit better units in the raise the dead pool. They reshuffled the recruitment buildings with many units now available earlier and more easily. Revamped the tech tree, skill trees, and bloodline effects to give race access to powerful new effects such as increased healing caps and extra winds of magic. So they're going to be a lot viable. So what we have here is, as for individual lords, we already highlighted some of the changes to the coming to the undead power couple, Vlad and Isabel von Karstein, and our dedicated factions blog. But don't worry, Manfred and Necromancer lords will have their time in the sun or moon too. Manfred Conster has moved to the Southlands, where he seeks the unholy book of Nagash as most magical gifted of the vampire lords. He has also received increased magic reserves, and master of his black arts ability now boosts his spells master by 25%. So what that means is that it's going to be him, Volkmar, going for the books of Nagash, which I believe also with Cetra as well. So that's actually going to be a really cool feat. And as you guys already know, the Southland Bowl is already going on. It's already going on strong. So y'all better get your tickets like right now. Get them tickets while it's hot. So that's really cool here. So not to be outdone by this young upstart, Kimmler has upped his game. Best Bud Krell is now a permanent summon by default, while Kimmler's skill tree serves to supercharge Krell's combat. That's actually really cool, and I like that a lot. So, while Kimmler is the spellcaster, Krell is the melee champion that protects Kimmler, which is great. I love it. I really do. So let's see. Let's go on to the Lizardman here. So we're going to be looking down here. We know that the Lizardman and update together might generate some excitement, so we'll get to the bad news first out of the way. The geomantic web is pretty much the same, as other than a few adjustments to reward you for fulfilling a great plan. We fully recognize that it's right for a more substantial update and hope to find opportunity to do something in the future. And that's perfectly fine. We don't have, that's really not in like too much of a gameplay change anyway, so that's perfectly fine. They'll update that, you know, not too much worry, right? So we'll start with the humble skinks. As long requested, Tien Huan now unlocks regiments of renowned units by leveling up, and will be able to use his sacrificial pyramid to generate extra blessed spawning units. His Camelonite comrade also will be receiving new missions to hunt down and eliminate new demonic enemies who recently arrived on the Mortal Empire's map, and his mission duration is now scaled to campaign difficulty, making it much harder to thwart chaos if you choose the player at a harder levels. So the Star Wars Saurus will also benefit changes to help them take on demonic hordes in battle. The Innate Primal Instincts ability kicks in early, granting the greater bonuses, no longer triggering the rampage. Both source characters also get revamped Lord and faction FX to account for this addition, to helping them develop their own playstyles. Krokgar will be focusing on creating a coterie of elite swords characters with major buffs for old bloods and Scar veterans, while Gorok will enjoy new effects to learn into his defensive nature, while his unique right no longer makes swords unbreakable. It now grants him barrier as immunity to hostile weapon effects like poison, a perfect boon for taking certain pestilential rodent. Really, I like that. So as the premier magic wielders of the setting, the Slan, including Lord Croak, are getting the skill tree tweaks to fit the new magic system of Warhammer 3, while gaining access to powerful effects like barrier and increases the wind's magic capacity. On top of that, Mezamundi will also receive a whopping plus 50% range increase to all his spells, befitting for a frog such as continent shifting power. Finally, Nakai will enjoy a variety of balance changes, including tech tree updates, boost to his economy, as well as new and improved benefits upon constructing temples to the old ones. He'll also benefit from some fundamental improvements to diplomacy that were introduced in Warhammer 3, notably improving how the AI interacts with vassal factions. I like that a lot. I really do. Dark Elves. Okay, we're going to be speaking about the Dark Elves here. One more time, we're going to look at this awesome image because it's really cool. It's going to be like, it's like they're here to give us free backgrounds, which is amazing. So next, let's turn to the Druki, who in addition to be in prime position to benefit from the new sea lanes, have seen big changes to their slave mechanic. Previously, this feature was resulting in the same late game economic performance with relatively little interaction from the player. As such, in Warhammer 3, slaves are now considered a faction level resource rather than something you stow in a province. Slaves can now be spent at numerous buildings to generate income, or invested in 3 powerful slave dictates to benefit specific province. For a long while, the Druki have had complicated relations with chaos, so the influx of demonic forces has led a few notable changes. Marathi now gets a unique interaction with Slanesh corruption. It can now recruit demonettes, while Malice possession ability now allows for more frequent use of Zarkon and interacts differently with new corruption types. Last of all, Rakarth now can now capture and tame a host of new beasts, including Sabertusk and Feral Bears. Rakarth even got an in-depth spotlight in our recent QA and development team. So the cool thing, which what I like here, I don't want to really get too political, is that I like how they still keep the slave mechanic. You know, even though slaves is like a huge word right now, and a lot of people don't like the word slaves or indenturers, whatever. I'm glad to keep that around and keep that thematic alive. So, but of course, enough of that. Let's go with Norsca here. Norsca is where they get a big change here, because they changed from their outdated playstyle, which I believe was like a horde kind of playstyle, which is really cool. So Norsca here, let's talk cold and angry. Prime to raid. Norsca had somewhat a tumultuous entry into the series with their unique ability to construct outposts instead of regular settlements, built on the foundation of climate lock occupations of Warhammer 1. This design did not make a graceful transition into Warhammer 2, where it was originally designed to grant them unparalleled flexibility. Instead, it became their greatest weakness. So if you take one thing home when you're done rating these shorts, it's the fact that Norsca is now a regular occupation faction with access to their complete building tree anywhere in the world. While that is a big one, there's additional smaller changes coming to the race. So they're making some pretty big changes here to Norsca. So devotion to the gods. Like before, players can dedicate the ruins of the other enemies to one of the 4 gods in order to gain favor, but there was always a massive disparity in the rewards given, such as we even things out a bit. So basically, in the previous games, of course, when Norsca would attack a settlement or whatnot, right? You can have a devotion to one of the 4 gods, which you can get a buffs or whatnot. And you also weren't able to capture, or you weren't able to like settlement. So now you have the choice of either occupying or raising it and stuff like that. So you can basically think of it like this: you can push out to get your outer cities, and then like raise the inner cities or the cities that are cut off and make them like make them sites or whatnot for you, something like that. Full dedication to the crow no longer causes, admittedly, most importantly, global plague. Rather, you'll be joined by Burplesmirk, Stupid, and the exalted unclean one. Full dedication to the hound no longer gives you access to Iceforge Legion. Rather, you'll be joined by the Kilgore Slave Mom and exalted hero Korn. All rewards grant their army an incredible powerful boon that twists their battle profile to align closer to the Dark God's ideals. For example, Azric's forces enjoy access to berries, magical weapons, and global winds of magic generation benefits. If you had terrifying realization that we didn't say where the Iceforge Legion went, don't worry, your favorite Hell Cannon battery has become a regular regiment of renown unit that unlocks once you reach the appropriate level. Now they have commitments, or we'll go to the commitment section. Being fully settled and capable of holding complete provinces all over the world, Norsca has a full set of commitments to enact over them and solidify their new holdings, resources, wines, furs, everything in between. Norsca can now construct buildings to exploit almost all resources for local and global bonuses. So capital targets with new forces of order come new cities to raise for the unique benefits. The Kurgan hordes have never taken Wei Jin, but perhaps they only lacked a unifying iron fist. What does that mean? To tie us off, let's head off the questions on everyone's mind. No, this is not the Norsca rework. These changes are about freeing Norsca from the shackles of their outposts and giving them a test of the fresh new powers and the dark gods in Warhammer 3. Like the rest of the Immortal Empires, it's just the beginning, foundation to set upon and build and make future tweaks to different factions. So what this is basically saying is they're really just setting the foundation for everything. They're getting us what we wanted, what we always want to have, right? That's what they're giving us. This is the when you build a house, you build what? A foundation, right? So now they're working on, especially with this DLC team, they're working on bringing this foundation up into something amazing, and I can't wait to see what happens here. So like with factions, I really hope that they add in Cathay as a faction, of course Kingdoms of End, Koresh, and maybe even upon if they decide to expand the map. So I can't wait to see this happen. So you guys let me know what y'all think in the comment section below, what you guys think of this video here. Also, leave me a comment, you guys want to discuss about this, that'll be great as well. Until then, thank you for watching. Thank y'all for your support. Definitely consider subscribing to Patreon if you haven't already. You guys have a good one. Peace out. Much later, everybody. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and also hit the bell notification down below. Thanks for watching.